His name was Francis Polisi Loile Lotodo. Francis was the Christian name. Polisi, when he was a young boy, he wanted to be a policeman. So he would act as a policeman, march, comment about police. Then they called him Polisi. And when he became a youth, he led so many cat wrestling in neighboring countries that they referred to him as a lion, Loile. Actually, my time in the 80s when I was there, when you talked about Lotodo, because there are so many Lotodos, one was even the MP for Tiati. By then Tiati used to be called Baringo East. You would hear them referring him to Simba. There is that push in the word. And of course Lotodo was his name. I hear in the Pokot tribe, one person is called Pokot, but they pronounce it as if the K sounds like a G, and it is Pogot. It's like you may think it is a P-O-G-O-O-T. There is a pool, Pogot, that is one. But if there are two or more, they are called Pochon. Pochon. So when you're talking about Pokots, you find 5 Pokots. Don't say these are 5 Pokots. Say these are 5 Pochon. I hear people referring to Raila as a Guambo. If you refer to Raila as a Guambo, then maybe you have to call Lotodo a Guambest, or you have to look for a stronger word, because he could do and say things that even Raila was very scared to do. And he never shied off from talking in public, where there was the district security committee, and occasionally even when the president is within West Pokot. At a time when being imagined to be anti-Moi could cause you death, him, so long as it is something that was in the interest of the Pokot, he would say it without fear. The road from Kitale all the way to Lodwar was tarmacked in the early 80s. In the 70s, if you wanted to go to Lodwar, you would leave Kitale town, go to Senta Kwanza, then from Senta Kwanza you go to Keringet, from there then you go to Makutano, from Makutano you would go to Kacheliba, from Kacheliba you go to Konyao, then from Konyao you go to Nawiapo. That is when you now enter Turkana from lower part in the Loima sub-county. The government came up with a tarmac road from Kitale through Kapenguria to Lodwar. To him, he would address meetings and say he wanted the district commissioner to be a Pokot, the police head to be a Pokot, the OCS, the teacher, everybody. So whenever there was a public meeting at Makutano, he would address the DC and tell him, you should go back home. We have Pokots who can do your work. He would turn to the OCPD and he would talk, and those things were recorded and nothing would happen to him. While we were attending GSU training school, Lotodo was never mentioned. But we were made to be scared of somebody called Major Maua. I have long forgotten the real names of Major Maua, even though I am the one who escorted Major Maua when he was arrested during the 1984 operation. I escorted him alone to Kitale, from Kapenguria police station to Kitale. He was to appear in a court in Kitale. He was called Major Maua because he was a military man. He attended Sandhurst military college in Britain, together with Arab Manyinya, Kiptum Arab Manyinya, the head of the GSU Rec company. That one I'll talk about later, because there was a contact one day they fought. So when he came back to Uganda, because most part of from Kacheliba, all this part called Karapokot, the Kacheliba sub-district and Alale sub-districts were part of Uganda up to 1972. So he joined the Uganda army and rose to the rank of major. He was called Major Maua because in the military there are three majors. We have Sergeant Major, whom is nicknamed Sir Major. We have Major, who is an officer in charge of a company. This one is an equivalent of an OCPD, and in his cape, somewhere here, there is Maua, and then there is a Major General. Now in East Africa there used to only be 3 Major Generals. So for you to show people that you are not a Sergeant Major, you would say mimi ni Major wa Maua, because your cape had some Maua. So that is how Major Maua was. In every terrorist organizations, we have political leaders and military leaders. So the political leader of Morocco was Lotodo, and the military leader of them was Major Maua. While we were at GSU training school, we were made to fear Major Maua. We were even being told that Major Maua knows how many of you will go to West Pokot and he's ready for you. So when we reached Nakuru, my father wanted me to remain in Nakuru, but I insisted that I'll go to, by then people are going to 3 stations, 4, Eldoret, Nakuru, West Pokot and Turkana. But I deliberately chose myself to go to West Pokot because I didn't see any reason of going through GSU training school and then you do the normal police work. But this is about Lotodo. So Lotodo used to address meetings and tell people, waende. There was a time when I was in West Pokot where it was said that the president was to come to West Pokot and talk against cattle rustling. Lotodo talked to the press 2 days before. He said that he hoped that the president was coming to take his boys. By boys he meant security personnel, because West Pokot can be guarded in the absence of Moi's guard. Believe it or not, while Moi was addressing a public meeting in Makutano Stadium, Morocco attacked Alale police station, Alale police post. They attacked Alale police post and killed most of the police officers there. It so happened that within the Alale there were Pokots who used to make busa. So the police officers who had gone for busa are the ones who were not killed. But when the Korokos came, they found all the policemen who were there, they killed them, except one. My viewer will not believe it, but the tradition of that place is that once you kill somebody, you do 2 things. Or that was how it was that time. You know, 1980 to today, sort of a few days. What they used to do is that once they have killed somebody, they eat his liver when they have shot that person. So that when you eat somebody's liver, raw liver, he will not come to disturb you at night. Mashetani. And another thing is you go to your chest and mark 1. So when you arrest a Pokot or somebody from those sides, you check his chest on the right hand side, you count the number of sticks there, it commemorates with the number of people killed. So this fellow who didn't die, when they were attacking, They shot the person next to him, and then he took this person and placed him on top of himself, and because of shock he passed out. Now, another thing I was forgetting, among the Pokots, the person who has shot you is the one who takes your gun. And you know, in every police post there is this gun that iko na miguu hapa mbele na mishipi ya bunduki. That is the strength of the post. Now, whenever they attack, such a person is really a target because he can kill more people. So this person who was next to this police officer, the police officer who was next to this police officer, was the one who had that gun, ya mishipi ya marisasi. So when they killed him, two things saved this one. One was they started fighting over the big gun, the LMG, light machine gun. Each one was saying, I'm the one who killed him, I'm the one who killed him. And then you see there were two people lying on top of each other. The one on top was dead, the other one had fainted after taking one and placing it there. So when it came to the time of eating the liver, they ate the liver of the person above but left the one below. You know, if they would have gone to eat his liver, they would have killed him as a result. But they didn't kill him because they said the bullet that killed this one killed the other. So when the vehicle came to collect the bodies, and you know, a lorry does some vibration on the ground, he rose up, and when he rose up, everybody took off. They thought that a dead person had arisen. We have a problem with the police up to today. Such policemen are never taken to rehabilitation center, but Army has such facilities. So that is how the Pokots did it. And then the first time I met Lotodo, I was at Makutano, wanted to go to Kapenguria, Maine, to the offices. He stopped there, his Volvo, and then told me to get in. I was scared. Imagine I was a special branch officer and I was scared of him. When I entered, he started asking me the names of my bosses. Fulani akaja, I say he's fine. Then he went and took me to the office. You cannot talk about Lotodo without talking about the operation of 1984. The operation of 1984 was called Operation Nyundo. I was at a place called Nauyapong, and even before the operation was over is when I changed over to the special branch. It reached a stage where the government wanted to mop up all the guns, and they mopped up all the guns, and they saw that it was not enough. What they decided was, to make Pokots really feel bad, was that they have mopped up all the cows, all the livestock. So what they used to do is the police would just kill more cattle than was required. And you see Pokot looking at cattle being surrounded by police officers and being liberally eaten, it really hurt them. Lotodo was they wanted to charge him with warlike activities, but for some funny reason they decided to charge him with the mileage. And the funny thing is he was convicted for a crime he didn't commit, although the bigger crime that he committed, they were afraid of charging him. There is a police officer whom I've forgotten his name. He is the police officer who was at the report office on the day when, you know, Lotodo went to Kacheliba. And when he went to Kacheliba, he went to the police station. They used to go to the police station and report. So they would write down in the OB. So this police officer said that he came, but then again he was still charged with false mileage and jailed. Then this police officer was transferred to Narok, Mara. You know what? Funny thing is, when he was taken to Mara, a few years later, he is the very same police officer who entered in the OB about Julie Ward's death. Lightning does not strike one person twice. Lotodo, after serving his jail, he came back and he rejoined politics. I remember those days we never had this situation where everybody has his own, every candidate has his own campaign structure. The DCU used to make plans for all the candidates to meet, to have one campaign meeting. And what the DC would do is that take a few papers, write 1, 2, 3, and then tell the candidates to pick. So if you pick number 1, you'll be the first one to talk. So if there are five candidates, Lotodo would not pick. So everybody would pick, and Lotodo used to be given last chance to talk. I remember before such things happened, there's a time he could pick either first or second or somewhere there. But you see, once Lotodo has spoken, all other candidates, supposing he's the first person, the first candidate talk, he talks and goes, and everybody goes. They say that is, I've seen that one with the Raila's people. You know, when he has talked and goes, they say, there's no need of listening to them. So he would talk last. Did I say talk last? He never talked. He would stand on the dais, and then people would start singing and he would start dancing. So they would dance, they would sing songs which are in his praise. Once the songs are over, he would turn to the DC and said, Buena DC, everything I wanted to say, I've already been talked in that song, so I have nothing more to talk. And everything would go. So Lotodo came back and became a politician, and then he was elected back to parliament after he has served his term. And I think there is even a case where he hived off Gong Forest or whatever. When he was reappointed, when he was re-elected and reappointed minister, I do recall that there was concern, and the president was even told, and the president said, I would be a fool if I don't pocket Lotodo. Then he continued that way. Lotodo's death occurred in a hospital in Johannesburg in the year 2000. So in the year 2000, he was sick and was referred to Johannesburg Hospital. And you see, the doctor was taking long and talking a lot to a patient, and those patients who were on the line were waiting. So Lotodo went and entered the doctor's room and said, you are talking too long and some of us are dying on the line. The doctor told him, just take you. The doctor just took it to be an ordinary case. So he told him to go back to the line. And the doctor did his work as per how he felt comfortable. When it came to the turn to call Lotodo, they found him sleeping or so, they thought. But checking on him, he had died. That was the year 2000. You know, when you talk of Lotodo, the first thing everybody remembers is tribal clashes. So when we had problems in 2007, people spoiled the ICC case. You see, in a court of law, someone has got to be convicted beyond any reasonable doubts. But when you bring a topic that is obviously with a lot of holes, you waste your time. It was alleged that the Kiamba church, there was a meeting between Ruto and Lotodo, where, and you see these people, the ICC, they just Googled Lotodo's name, and the Google says, Kenya's greatest warlord and tribal leader. They didn't even read down here to show that he had already died. So Ruto was charged with organizing the Kiamba burning with the Lotodo in 2007, in the year 2007. That is exactly 7 years after Lotodo had died. Lotodo had done something that only Jesus did. He rose from the dead. funny, isn't it? I also think it is funny.